Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I have not for a while done a ranking video of any kind. I was kind of trying to get away from that, and I am for the most part. But I'm just trying to refresh. I'm trying to figure out some new content for the channel, and have a couple things that I'm working on. And I thought, why not just go back to basics, do something simple while I'm kind of figuring out some ideas that I want to work on for the channel, and rank one of my favorite artists, top 10 favorite Bob Dylan albums. Now, I've done these types of videos on other streams. I've done some on my own channel. I've ranked Bob Dylan songs. I've done album rankings, that sort of thing. But as of today, this is the end of June here in 2025 at the time of recording this. I thought, let's just go ahead and knock one of these out. So believe it or not, I don't own a lot of Bob Dylan on vinyl, but I've got 10 CDs here that represent my current taste in Bob, represents my journey with Bob Dylan, and these are, the 10 albums, I guess, that I would reach for if I wanted to listen to Bob Dylan. So you've always got to start these videos by saying, this is my opinion. This is not based on any kind of record sales. It's not based on any kind of hits. It's not based on what the public believes to be the best Bob Dylan albums. These are the 10 albums that I reach for on my shelf, and they're going to be different than everybody else's, even if it's just the difference of one CD. This is not exactly how everybody that loves Bob Dylan would rank these albums. So without further ado, let's jump into number 10. I'm going to go with 1981's Shot of Love. Now, this is a shock for a lot of people because a lot of people kind of disregard Dylan's gospel years as being, too preachy. He went against playing his earlier songs in concert during this tour. This is 1981. He was doing all gospel music during his shows. It wasn't until toward the end of that tour that he was bringing back some of his old stuff. He was doing some preaching from the microphones, and just really ticked a lot of people off. But that's what Bob Dylan does. He ticks people off, and I love it. The reason I love this album so much is because my favorite Bob Dylan song is on this album, and that's the song Every Grain of Sand, which is just an absolute masterpiece of a song. I've seen Dylan play it live 3 times now on his Rough and Rowdy Ways tour. Very happy that I've gotten to experience that several times. There's other good stuff on here. I mean, I like all Dylan's records. Property of Jesus is a really rocking tune. Shot of Love is great. The Groom Still Waiting at the Altar. Lenny Bruce is kind of a weird song, but I like it a lot, about the comedian. So Shot of Love from 1981 is going to be number 10 for me. Number 9. This is the first Bob Dylan album that I bought new when it came out. That is 2012's Tempest. Now, Bob, sorry for the glare. Let me see if I can do this. Bob has been known to put out just really, really solid stuff, really since 1997's Time Out of Mind that he did with Daniel Lanois as the producer. And a lot of people have said that Bob has had one of the best latter career resurgences, if not the best, of any artist in his peer group. That includes, Neil Young, Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, any of those guys that you would kind of put in the boxing rink with Bob. Bob has really experienced a lot of the accolades, and Tempest is no exception. This is, a lot of people consider this to be the third in a trilogy that Bob put out. I don't agree with that. This trilogy stuff, Bob's just been really solid the last 25, almost 30 years now, with just consistent releases. But this is the first album that I bought new. I would have been a senior in high school when this came out. The opening song, Duquesne Whistle, is really, really fun. It's got this great kind of ragtimey intro, and then it's got this nice little shuffle beat throughout the tune. Long and Wasted Years is a beautiful tune. Paying Blood is pretty scathing. Scarlet Town is dark and foreboding. He does the song Roll On John about John Lennon. So really, really solid record by Bob. I know when it came out, people were worried that it was going to be his last album because he called it Tempest, which was the name of the last play by William Shakespeare. But thankfully, Bob has given us a couple more albums since then. one of which I'm about to show. This is number 8 for me. This is Shadows in the Night. Daggone it. Stupid glare. Now, again, people might look at me and think, oh, Shadows, like, why are you showing this? It's a covers album. I know it's a covers album, and I was really, hoping not to put any of Dylan's covers albums on this list. He's done a bunch, dating back to really his first record. It was pretty much a covers album with really 2 exceptions. Dylan in the mid 2000s decided he was going to put out a bunch of albums covering American standards, and again, not the way that Rod Stewart or Ringo Starr have put out these albums with the American standards on them. He did them in the style of Bob, and it works really well, just with those the pedal steel guitars, simple instrumentation. Bob singing from this album to this album. Now, I did a video on this about Bob's defending his voice. Bob's voice changed so much between 2012 and 2015 when this album came out. And this is pretty much the voice he has stuck with since 2015. This is my favorite of the 3 records that he put out during this period. He also put out an album called Fallen Angels and then a 3-record set called Triplicate. But this is my favorite of the bunch, and it's number 8 for my list of favorite Bob Dylan records. Number 7 is going to be a Dylan classic from 1970, New Morning. I love this album. This sounds like a very introspective Bob. This is Bob after kind of a couple of clunkers. He had put out Self-Portrait, which was critically panned. Very famous Rolling Stone story about that during the review. He had put out the album Nashville Skyline, which was not loved by critics. It was a country record. So this was kind of, Bob returning to form, really, since the mid-'60s, which in that time was a long time between albums. But I like all the albums during that period. But New Morning is so good. It's got the classic If Not For You, which George Harrison covered in 1970 as well on his All Things Must Pass. Day of the Locust is a fantastic song. His vocals on this album are just so good. Time Passes Slowly is beautiful. Went to See the Gypsy, which a lot of people think was about Dylan meeting Elvis. If Dogs Run Free. New Morning is a great song. Check out the song New Morning if you don't know it. One More Weekend is a great kind of bluesy tune. The Man in Me, which you would know from Big Lebowski, that was a big song on that. Just really, really good tracks on here. And yeah, I really, really, really love it. And I always like to mention that Bob in this photo is 29 years old and I'm 31. So just see the difference there. But anyway, that was 7. Number 6. A lot of people consider this his best. I would not argue with you. Highway 61 Revisited. This is the big one. This is the album, the second album in his Electric trilogy in the 60s. This is from 1965. Obviously, it kicks off with Like a Rolling Stone, probably the most important single in rock and roll. It was when the world really understood that Dylan was going electric. It broke barriers. It was over 6 minutes long. It's got this great instrumentation with, Al Cooper and Bloomfield and all those guys playing on it. And just a really, really rocking record. I mean, I love this thing so much. There's only 9 songs, but he fits a lot into 9 songs. You have Like a Rolling Stone, Tombstone Blues, Takes a Lot to Laugh, Takes a Train to Cry. I love the song Highway 61 Revisited, the title track. And then it ends with the gorgeous storytelling, 11-minute track, Desolation Row, which I've heard Bob do once or twice, and I'm very happy I got to hear that. But this is a fantastic record. Bob is in such fine form here. Even if you don't understand all the lyrics of what he's saying, like what it means, it's just really, really good music. So Highway 61 Revisited is number 6. So let's jump into the top 5 here. Let's go with the album that came just before Highway 61, and I'm going to go with Bringing It All Back Home. This is the first of the Electric period records. This is from 1965. most of it is electric, and then the last side of the record was acoustic music with Gates of Eden, It's All Right Ma, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, Mr. Tambourine Man. All of those songs are great. But then this album starts off with Subterranean Homesick Blues with that, fantastic, not video, but the clip from the Panabecker movie where he's flipping the cards with the lyrics. Just a fantastic song. I love the harmonica in it. She Belongs to Me is a gorgeous love song. Maggie's Farm is a rocker. Obviously, it makes you think of the Newport Folk Festival performance. Love Mine is Zero, No Limit. The Grateful Dead would play that song. I love that song. Outlaw Blues. Just so many great tunes on here. And one of those that's an essential to listen to. Number 4, let's go now to the oldest record in my list. That is The Times They Are A-Changin'. This is Bob Dylan's third album. It's definitely his most political album that he's ever put out. This is the album that I would assume, and I wasn't around, but this is the album that really said to the world, like, oh, I'm, this political voice. I'm, this voice of change in a very distraught world. And this would have been from, 64. So Kennedy, by this point, had already been killed. Civil rights were really heating up across the South. And Bob was kind of moving into a direction of really making his voice heard. And at such a young age, too. I mean, at, 23 years old, Bob was saying stuff that, the old politicians could never say. Obviously, The Times They Are Changing. Key Dylan song, key during the civil rights. Ballad of Hollis Brown, about a murder. With God on Our Side, which may be my number 2 favorite Bob Dylan song, depending on the day. One Too Many Mornings is a beautiful song. Only a Pawn in Their Game, Boots of Spanish Leather, When the Ship Comes In. I'm skipping a couple of songs here. And Restless Farewell, which he takes from the melody of The Parting Glass, the old Irish folk melody. And he ended up singing Restless Farewell, I believe, at Frank Sinatra's 80th birthday party in 1996. So, or 95 or 96. But Times They Are Changing. I love it. Is it dated? Some of the topics might be a little bit dated, but the heart is there, and it's still very relevant in this terrible world that we live in right now with all the stuff going on. All right, top 3. This is an album that I mentioned earlier that critics hated, but I absolutely love it, and anybody that knows my channel would know that I love this record. And that is Nashville Skyline. This is the last album Dylan put out during the 60s, 1969. It obviously has the re-sung version of Girl from the North Country, which was originally from the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan record, his second record. This is a duet with Johnny Cash. It's sloppy, there's a couple of mistakes, but it sounds really good, the two voices together. And obviously, if you've heard this record in any capacity, whether it's the singles or listening to the actual full record, Dylan had taken on this new voice, this crooning voice, this smooth voice. Supposedly he had stopped smoking during this time and put out this beautiful baritone country singing voice. And unless you know Bob Dylan, you wouldn't know that was Bob Dylan singing those songs. Dylan was in a pretty happy space. He was newly in love. He was having kids. At this time, he was a father. So you kind of get this smiley Dylan on the front, but you've got Girl from the North Country. You've got right into that an instrumental of Nashville Skyline Rag, which is a cool little number. I should mention you've got some of the best Nashville players on here. You've got Kenny Buttrey, Charlie McCoy, Pete Drake, Norman Blake, Charlie Daniels, as in the country singer Charlie Daniels, and Bob Wilson. To Be Alone With You is a great tune. He's been doing that on his recent tour a bit. I Threw It All Away is beautiful. Peggy Day. Lay Lady Lay was the big hit off of here. It's one of Dylan's best known songs. So you know that voice, that's Bob. One More Night, which one of my favorite covers of that is by Tony Rice, the flat picker in the bluegrass world. Tonight I'll Be Staying Here With You closes it out. Just a gorgeous tune. Great piano playing, just great instrumentation all the way around on this record. I absolutely love Nashville Skyline. So it is my number 3. Number 2, again, no surprise, probably for these two that are coming up, because they haven't really changed their place ever since I talked about this ranking. Ever since I talked about this ranking, whenever I did that on my channel. But this is 1983, Bob Dylan, Infidels. This is the album that, I would recommend to people who are uncomfortable with Bob. I would say listen to Infidels. There's some good stuff on here. He's got Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits playing on this record. Sly and Robbie, the duo, I believe, are on here. Sly Dunbar and Robbie Shakespeare. Mick Taylor from the Rolling Stones is on here. Alan Clark on keyboards. But it's really, really just solid. He's got the song Joker Man on there, which is just one of my favorite Bob Dylan tunes. He has Sweetheart Like You, which is a gorgeous track with one of those great lines where he says, in your father's house there's many mansions, each one with a fireproof floor. Just a fantastic line. Neighborhood Bully rocks. License to Kill. Tom Petty did a great version of that at Madison Square Garden in 1992 during the concert for Bob there. He did a great version of License to Kill. Man of Peace, which could be considered also a gospel song by Dylan. This is the first album that came out. This is the album that follows Shot of Love that I showed earlier. It was his first secular album in quite a few years. So people were really excited to have Bob back to playing music like that. Union Sundown is great. I and I, Don't Fall Apart on Me Tonight. Just every song on here is so good. Again, 8 tracks, but man, is this thing good. It's not as saturated with 80s production as some of the albums after this, like Empire Burlesque or Down in the Groove, or Knocked Out Loaded. This album still holds up very well, and I really like Infidels, so it's my number 2. And number 1, again, no surprise to anybody that knows me, this is my favorite Bob Dylan album. At the time of recording this, it's my 3rd favorite album of all time after Pet Sounds and Abbey Road. It's Blood on the Tracks, and let me get rid of that terrible glare. Blood on the Tracks to me is just perfection. That includes Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts, the long storytelling ballad. Well, not ballad, the storytelling epic, I guess that you could call it. So that's fantastic. You've got Tangled Up in Blue on here. You've got Simple Twist of Fate is on here. You have You're a Big Girl Now, Idiot Wind, You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go, Meet Me in the Morning, just a fantastic bluesy kind of open song. If You See Her Say Hello is just a gorgeous song. Shelter from the Storm and Buckets of Rain, which is just this fantastic, again, open tuning track. Most of this album is in weird kind of open tunings, and again, a lot of people consider this to be a divorce record. He was divorcing his wife Sarah at the time, and you can hear it with songs like Idiot Wind and You're Gonna Make Me Lonesome When You Go. But then there's also non-divorce related songs like Lily Rosemary and the Jack of Hearts. It's just a phenomenal record. It's Dylan at his absolute best. I don't think he's gotten to that point before or since. And I mean, often voted in the greatest albums of all time list by the critics. And I just absolutely adore it. I've got the big bootleg box set that has all of the takes, the sessions that he did in New York. It's just so rich and so full, and his voice is so good during that period. Was it 1974? So Dylan is still a fairly young man at 33 years old. He's already lived quite a life to this point. He's kind of shaked off, the dismay that he got during his Electric tour being booed, and he's obviously no longer the folk singer that he was on those first 4 records that he put out. But just a fantastic record. Blood on the Tracks for me is the best Bob Dylan album. And there's my top 10. Sorry, the video is about 20 minutes now, but I enjoyed doing this. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Give me your top 10 below, or if you're inclined, make a video if you're a Dylan fan, and let me know that you made a video showing your 10 favorite Dylan albums, or do 10 favorite Dylan tracks. I would love to see it, and just make sure you tell me that you've done it so I can come watch. All right, everybody, that does it. In the meantime, y'all be good, take care, and listen to Bob. Bye now.